go ahead. Go ahead and call this meeting to order at 7:32 p.m. Everyone, please rise as you can for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which stands
which stands
nation,
one nation under God,
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice for
liberty,
all.
justice.
Please remain standing for a
all.
moment of silence or silent prayer as your conscience finds appropriate. Thank you. Please be seated. Members of the council, you should have an agenda available. And are any changes required to that agenda? And are there any conflicts of interest that any of you have for items on that agenda?
No.
I'm going to I want to do a roll call check on that. So if no changes are required and no one has conflicts of interest, may I please have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Smith, seconded by Councilmember Inyang. Is there any council discussion of the motion to approve the agenda as submitted? Are there any public comments on the agenda this evening?
Yes, I have a comment here.
Yes, sir.
Concerning 54th Avenue, the street light that they were about to install, but they just stopped by Jefferson Street. Then after Jefferson Street, you have Spring Lane, 54th Avenue, Spring Lane. That place need to have a light. Mr. Mayor, if you can remember, the old lady on the right-hand side, like when you're going towards Kenwalt Avenue, she complained that sometime 2 months ago or 3 months ago, she said that curve is too dark. They need light there. So I don't know if they can make effort to extend it, to extend the street lights over there. That will be fine in that curve. So that's my public comment.
Okay, well, we can discuss that under new business, or we can simply ask staff to research that possibility and come back to us at the next work session. Would that be an acceptable outcome for staff to research and talk to us in August? Mr. Callum?
Go ahead. Yes, what is it?
Would it be okay if we ask staff to research the possibility of extending the street lights in that way? And
Yeah, it should be okay. It's for the residents in that corner.
I understand. I'm just saying that we can either discuss it under new business, which would be a change to the agenda, or we can ask staff to bring it back to us in August.
No, well, whatever you said.
Okay, I would
Whatever
say let's do it in August.
Okay, all right.
Give staff a little bit of time that we can have a discussion. I understand the desire of the
Okay,
resident to have the new lights.
thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, if there
Okay.
are no additional council or public comments on the motion to approve the agenda, and I don't see any other unmuted microphones or hands raised, I will do a roll call vote for the motion to approve the agenda. Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Foe contacted me and requested to not be here because he is on vacation in upstate New York and doesn't have a very good network connection. And so he will not be joining us this evening. Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Inyang,
Aye.
Councilmember Mejia,
Aye.
and Councilmember Calon.
Aye, but your voice is too low.
My voice is too low. Well, I will speak up and project.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Don't you
if
just
I
have a volume knob?
Yeah, I would second that actually, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'm turning.
You're a
up-
little light.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Because that's turned to 11.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. I did, because you told me your computer goes to 11. Anyway, let's move on. Let's quit being so.
Okay, so now we have an agenda. And I really hope my computer is not seizing up. It's sort of acting like it might be a little bit. So someone hopefully will text me on my phone if I actually lock up. So the next item on the agenda is my report, the mayor's report, and I have a bunch of small things, hopefully get through it quickly. First of all, I would say happy summer to everyone. We had the summer solstice a couple of weeks ago. And happy new fiscal year to everyone. It's good to have fresh and shiny buckets of money and available to spend and not worrying about where money is and where money isn't. So happy new fiscal year. During the month of June, there are a couple of events that I may have missed in previous reports. One of them was that on June 22nd, the farmers market celebrated its 25th anniversary. They've been in operation for 25 years. Perhaps Councilmember Lingua might remember whether they started on June 18th or June 25th of that year, but it was not exactly a 25 year, but they observed it on the 22nd. And I would like to congratulate market coordinator Jim Coleman. He's been involved with it for many, many years, and I'd like to just sort of remember Pat Gladding and Rebecca Feldberg, who were the brave souls who started the whole thing just by saying, we're going to do this and make it work. So it's been a great 25 years, and I look forward to the continued success of the farmers market. On the last day of June, then our green team submitted the application for continued or renewed status as a sustainable Maryland city. And as I understand it, we submitted for enough that we might well get a silver designation, even though we're a pretty small municipality and it's hard for us to do this. And the application, I sort of saw some of it over the shoulder of the First Lady. She was working on sections of it, and it looked very strong to me, very good items on there. And I'm proud that we have so many sustainable activities to report on and to get credit for. Early-ish in June, I attended the Maryland Municipal League Conference, and I want to thank the taxpayers for picking up my hotel bill and food bill and mileage on my car in order to get there. I took a couple of days of leave and was able to meet with a lot of people, renew a lot of ties with nearby municipalities and some that are further away. Attended a few sessions, and a lot of what I did was chase down people as directed by the council to discuss the Army Reserve ideas that we have. And got very warm welcome on that from many other municipalities. They're very excited to hear that we are working on this and that we are making progress. That sort of leads directly into the next section of my report, which is actually showed on the agenda, which is that we had a closed meeting on June 14th. We started at 8:45 p.m. and this was over Zoom. And motion to close the meeting was made by Councilmember Foe, seconded by Councilmember Lingua. And voting in favor for Councilmembers Smith, Fo, Lingua, and Yang Kalan. I abstained and Councilmember Mejia was absent. And the statutory authority to close that session was to consider the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and matters directly related thereto. And of course, it's pretty obvious now that the property we were discussing was the Army Reserve Center, and we were discussing strategy for acquiring it, and the actions taken by the council were to direct staff to develop documents supporting the identified strategy and release them to various stakeholders, and to allow myself to discuss all that happened at that meeting with Councilmember Mejia. Session closed at 9:38 p.m. And so that was that report of closed meeting. One other item before we sort of get to a logistical issue is that the town is distributing sandbags. This is one-time distribution funded by the county. And I believe that this Saturday is the last distribution from 9 a.m. to noon at Town Hall. I encourage everyone who lives in a floodplain or whose property is subject to flooding to pick up some sandbags, because if it floods, you might want to have them in order to redirect water or to keep it out of your house. And hopefully staff can report on how well we are doing with distributing those. So the final item on my report is that we need to have a special legislative meeting at the end of this month, and the proposed dates and times are all at 7:30 p.m. are Monday, July 31st, Wednesday, August 2nd, and Thursday, August 3rd. I'm available for all of those dates. If the rest of you can think about that, and we'll bring it up under new business at the end of the meeting, and that would be good. And that concludes my report for this month. So let's move on to the next item on the agenda, the town manager's report. Mr. Town Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, good evening. And I was going to say, I wish everyone a wonderful recess. And but we sent the mayor an email earlier today asking for a special meeting to clean up some last minute business that needs handled. So first, I want to echo the mayor's comments about the sustainability committee, the green team. Outstanding. Just that's the only word I can think of to perhaps do justice to the good work that they do. And it's very detailed work. It's documenting everything that the town has done and looking at points and the criteria for each entry, and a lot of work goes into it. And we're very fortunate to have a core group of volunteers to work on that. So on behalf of the staff team, thank you for your good work. So we mentioned the need for a special meeting and the dates. Mr. Mayor, do you want me to cover the topics, or we'll do that later?
You can go ahead and do that now, and we can.
So there are a few things that we'll need to discuss with the council and get your approval on. One will be the automated enforcement. We have 3 companies that submitted proposals. We're reviewing the proposals, and we were not ready with that for this evening's meeting. The next will be the engineering contract for the Pocket Park on 54th Place, or the formerly known 54th Place. And then Director Lewis will talk about the licensing agreement, reference the Calvert track for the utility poles and signage on utility poles. So that's on the agenda for tonight, but we anticipate having to come back to you in a couple of weeks to clean that up. Ms. Barnes asked that I remind the council that your official oath of office, the signed documents are ready for you for pickup. You can get those town hall Monday through or Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, 8:30 to 5, or we could leave them at the police department front counter, where you can pick them up after hours on or on the weekends. So if you would let Director Barnes know how you would like yours picked up. The last thing I have is just notification that the town is participating in the Summer Youth Employment Program. We did this for several years, I think probably 5 years now. During COVID, it was paused, but it's a good program. It's covered by the county in terms of the cost. So we have 2 interns for the summer, one in public works and one in administrative services. And the mayor, I guess I will add this, the mayor mentioned that it's the start of the new fiscal year. And so that means we're busy closing out the current year, and Mr. Jones will cover some draft numbers for you, but I will just caution that the numbers are in flux, and we're still receiving invoices and that for services rendered in last fiscal year. And so the numbers are really subject to change, more so at the end of June than in other months. And our finance team will also then be getting busy with audit. So the audit process for fiscal 23 has already begun. And so it seems we finish budget and roll right into audit. And that's the normal process. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. I'll just add a comment about the sustainability team application. And I intended to do this when I remarked on it earlier, which is that the town staff were heavily involved in providing information to the green team and to closing out a few items so they could be reported. And I want to thank the town staff for their involvement as well. It was critically important. And of course, it's town staff that have been doing a lot of the work that allowed the sustainability team to make the application and ask for the credit. So again, many thanks to town staff. Are there any other questions or comments for the town manager's report?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead, Councilmember Lingua.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I would echo that sentiment regarding the green team. They did a phenomenal amount of work, and staff was great in, like you said, in getting back information and helping them fill in the task items, the action items on the 3-year list. 3-year list. It's quite a lot to go through, and I hope the group is looking forward to another productive 3 years coming.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Lingua.
And Mr. Mayor, I just had information shared with me about the sandbag program, if you want me to that. So we had 660 sandbags that were picked up by the town, and I believe we distributed 100 of those. So we have plenty of sandbags that that can be distributed. Director Lewis, do you have anything to add to that?
Good evening, everyone. No, unless we are considering maybe extending for 2 more Saturdays the opportunity for residents to pick up sandbags, since we, as of today, have quite a few left. So I'll work with Director Barnes about advertising 2 additional dates.
Very
Okay.
good.
I will. I live on the edge of the floodplain that intrudes into my property just a little bit, so I'll swing by on Saturday morning and pick some up
Great.
for myself.
Good, thank you.
I was trying to leave them for people who were more immersed in the floodplain. Is that the wrong way to put it or the right way to put it? So that's good. Okay, let's move on to the monthly finance reports.
Mr. Jones?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the public. Tonight's finance reports cover the months of April, May, June, as well as a year-to-date. Like Town Manager Listician said, we are currently still finalizing the end of the year financials. As we do expect to receive additional revenue, we're still processing invoices that we're receiving, so the numbers are subject to change, and we do expect them to do so. But for the month of June, for fiscal year 2023, revenue totaled $698,584. And expenditures for that same period in June totaled $933,975. Leaving us with a total negative $235,391. And again, if you look at the previous fiscal years, those include all of the revenues, all of the expenditures. So we expect both of those figures to go up. As I mentioned in previous reports, we are 2 months behind in speed camera revenues, so we will be receiving more for that. So the year-to-date total that we have so far is $9,773,000. Expenditures total $8,180,000. The estimated actual that we have actually published in the fiscal year 2024 budget is $9,614,000. So we've actually exceeded the estimated actuals on the revenue side. And as far as the expenditure side, that total is $8,405,000. So at this point, although we still have additional expenditures that we do expect, we still are under our estimated actuals by $225,000. So yeah, again, we are still currently finalizing your year-end financials, but we have a total revenue net expenditures of $1,593,468. And yes, that concludes the finance reports for the month of June. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Deputy Director Jones. For the questions for Deputy Director Jones on the finance report.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilmember Smith.
I'm sorry if it was articulated earlier and I missed it, but what is the reason for the speed camera revenue being behind?
So it's always been that way. We always receive the speed camera revenue 2 months behind. So we still have yet to receive May and June speed camera revenue. So we expect to get that in the next 60 days.
So is it just paid like in arrears rather
Yeah.
than just being late and paying it?
Correct, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No problem.
Any additional questions for Deputy Director Jones?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilmember Lingua, go ahead.
Deputy Director Jones, I know it's early. I know we're just now 10 days into the new fiscal year. Happy New Year to you. But knowing how you just have this ability to crunch numbers and project numbers as well, looking at what you budgeted for this year, in terms of expenditures and revenues, from what you're seeing, and I know it's just a projection, how close are you?
At this point, based off of everything that we've gathered now, and again, it is subject to change, the revenue net expenditures that we had projected in the budget, we expect to hit that number, and we may actually exceed it by a little bit. But yeah, we had a figure of $1,208,000, and we expect to hit that number. So I would say that our projections this year look to be accurate as well. as it's been in previous years.
Good news to hear. Thank you very much.
Are there any additional questions for Deputy Director Jones? Are there any public comments or questions for Deputy Director Jones regarding the finance report? Would a council member like to make a motion to adopt the finance report subject to audit?
So moved.
Second,
Motion by Councilmember Inyang, seconded by Councilmember Lingua to adopt the finance report subject to audit. Is there discussion of this motion by the council? Are there public comments? Seeing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
aye.
Councilmember Inyang,
Aye.
Councilmember Mejia,
Aye.
Councilmember Kellogg,
Aye.
and I abstain. The motion passes 5-0. Moving along on the agenda. The next item is the correspondence summary. There's only one item on the correspondence summary, which is flood awareness. And unless someone needs to make a motion regarding that, then I think we are good. Everyone has it in their packets and can review it carefully. Moving on the agenda, next item is the fire department report. Do we have a representative from the fire department this evening? I don't see one. Was a report received? I did not receive one.
Yes, the report is on the screen now. A brief report. President Lampier is out of town today.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that report. And let's move along. Next item on the agenda, council, committee, and ward reports. So let's start with Councilmember Smith, Ward 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy summer, everybody. It is, if we were in any doubt, it is definitely here now. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. I heard that the fireworks displays from our roof here at our house were beautiful. I didn't get to see them because I was working in I guess the inverse of the town of Riverdale Park in Quality, which is Orlando, Florida. My last hurrah at a job where I was required to work every year over the 4th of July. So it's nice to get that back. Today I started a new day job, and it was unexpectedly a delight. Not that I didn't expect a new job to be, but you know, whenever you go into a new space and there's meetings all day and people ask you to introduce yourself, and I got to talk about the town of Riverdale Park and how much I love living here, what a great community it is, all of the amenities we have and are continuing to obtain, and even, you know, things like you know, as a government contractor, I need a CAC card, as some of you are familiar with, and I don't have to go all the way downtown to the 3rd floor sub basement of some government building and wait in line for you know, fingerprints and all that, because I can go to the Discovery District, to the Department of Agriculture, and they have an office there. We've got everything here, and it's just such a great place to live, and being able to come back from a place like Orlando and talk about our town to a bunch of new people today was just a delight. I don't think I have much other than that. Keep it short, on theme with the agenda this evening. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. I'll be picking up my PIV card at the USDA. I have an appointment for next Monday. Councilmember Lingua, Ward
I
3.
might see you there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening to everyone who are in virtual attendance. To quote the great Washington athlete Johnny Malks, thank you for tuning in at home. We love you. Coming up this Saturday, this weekend, is a placemaking event in Riverdale over at the Alamo. It's a 2-day event, food, music, and the like. So I would encourage folks to head over there and check out the event. I know the CCAR CDC is helping out with this. I know the folks at Greater Riverdale Thrives has been organizing this event as well, and it's from what I understand, it's going to be it's going to be a fairly nice event to go to check out. As for the CCAR CDC meeting schedule, I've not received anything saying when their next meeting is. In the past, they have taken off July and August and come back in September. I'm sure we'll probably hear from them more at that time. On a lighter note, I ran into Candy with Southeastern Roastery, who was now out in Baltimore, but at one point was looking to set up shop in Riverdale Park for a time. She was a resident down on Taylor Road, and she instead went and set up on East Fort Road up in Baltimore. Her business up there is doing quite well, and she sends her regards to the town. Misses us, and hopes that nobody's a stranger, and goes up to Baltimore and checks out her shop and her operations up there. I know she would love to see folks. As for goings on around in Ward 3, really the one overriding issue that we have here that I tend to hear about from folks is folks out on dirt bikes, probably right around that 49cc size, which means do not need to be licensed or to have a registration on it. Yet a lot of folks are finding kind of affecting their quality of life, as well as essentially a little bit intimidating, as they do like to run in and out of Riverside Neighborhood Park at a fairly often rate. And speaking also about Riverside Neighborhood Park, there's a group that comes out who are members of the town, and they're playing softball. And one of the things that they're missing, and that they would appreciate immensely, if the town can reach out to Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission's Department of Parks and Recreation, would be restroom facilities. I think that would be something appreciated by any number of people who are now coming out and using the park. Be that more towards Saturday afternoon, but definitely on Sundays. Softball group is out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I think all would appreciate it greatly if they had restroom facilities made available. There's a building right there. I know there are facilities in there. Why it is that Park and Planning does not want to open them, and, provide that amenity to people whose dollars are going in to pay for that park, is, as they say, the $64 question. And I hope that's something that, we as a municipality can press upon Park and Planning to address. And with that, I will say, see you in September. Oh, no, wait, we're going to be meeting on the 31st of July or the 2nd of August or one of those dates then. Anyway, until then.
Thank you, Councilmember Lingua. Councilmember Inyang, Ward 4.
Good evening. Wanted to first just say, I echo Councilmember Smith's comments about the summers here. It's been tough to get on the bike. I like cycling around, and it's very much, if I don't do it in the morning, I'm committed myself to a 93-degree ride, which has its own issues, but it's always good to be out there and see other people getting on the trails. Trail runs right by my house. And so seeing the traffic pick up is definitely a good thing to see, a sight, and signal that the summer is here for sure. But again, I was concerned that are the roads safe for cyclists? And so always top of mind for me. Two, also super excited about Placemakers, was able to talk to the team sort of helping to plan that, and they are super excited about it. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity to bring programming to the town in places that are not traditionally where town events happen. So I think I'm really excited about what that is, what precedent that could set, and other opportunities to have the town meet the community where they are. So super excited about Placemakers. I'll be there for sure. Also went to MML in June, first time there, first time in Ocean City, first time seeing a beach in Maryland. Been here for how many years, and I didn't realize that growing up in Jersey wasn't a big deal. Here it's a full commitment, but it was fantastic. I walked away inspired, energized, and informed from the training that was there, to meeting the rest of the PGC, association there, making connections with folks. That part was, I think, invaluable, and I already see it paying dividends. As an example, just was cleaning my bike yesterday. Council member from College Park, Stu Adams, who's a neighboring council member, was like, "Oh, hey, like we finally met at MML," and he mentioned that College Park is acquiring a street sweeper, like a 4.5-foot street sweeper for trails, and was like, "Hey, let's have a conversation about, Riverdale Park being able to borrow it when they need to," and it's just something that I'd seen him before. He's actually friends with my neighbor. Never put 2 and 2 together, and here we are. We have a conversation, and now we're sort of finding opportunities for both of our towns to work. So, can't say more about ML. It's definitely super excited. We'll try to get more folks out there. I had to try to represent. There's a lot of yelling, represent who you're from, and folks brought battalions, but I can speak loudly if I need to. So I try to do my best, but it was fun for sure. And then lastly, I had a rare opportunity. A friend of mine works in the West Wing, and has asked if I can try to offer a service for tours for members of town staff. And so we're working on a time that works for folks who are interested, and hopefully folks will be able to do it. But since there weren't anyone, my family and I went on Saturday, and it was, obviously super cool. Couldn't take pictures because they lock your phones, but sort of seeing all of the places that you see so much. I mean, part of it is like seeing a person you've seen so much on TV in person. It's like seeing a virtual town meeting, and then you find a person and actually meet the mayor in person. They look familiar, but slightly different. That was obviously fantastic in the history lessons there. And it was definitely sort of a once in a lifetime opportunity, but I did walk away feeling even more impassioned about the work that we're doing here. It may not be the West Wing, it may not make, the nightly news every single day, but it's the people's house. And I think the work we do here is for the citizens, for the residents. And so it was a great reminder of me to, the work that we're doing here, and really appreciate everyone who, stays up on these calls, every Monday and for hours on end away from their families. I know it's a sacrifice, and just definitely appreciative and sort of filled with hope the upcoming, 2 years look like. And so with that, I will yield my time.
Thank you, Councilmember Inyang. Councilmember Mejia, Ward 5. Councilmember, you're on mute if you are speaking.
Good evening. I have no report for this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember. And that takes us to Councilmember Kellon, Ward 6.
Good evening, everybody. For my own side, I have a pack around me here. I have a lot of news during the July 4th. The firework was so tremendous because my window is just facing to the park. Boom, 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 boom. Then I went down. I joined them. There was a lot of, I brought some food down, like fried fish, beef, and everything. Some of them, drinks. They asked me, "Oh, where are you from?" "Oh, I said, I'm from Nicaragua." They laughed. They said, "No, no, no, no." The other guy said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Cuba, man." So it was so funny. So we make some fun over there until when I get fed up with my children, we came up back, we left them there. Then as the week went on, there was something God did for us, the family members and the cousins. One of my cousins was give up here because she have cancer. We sent her in Africa. We don't want her to die here. But when she went there, a miracle, she was healed. She came back. Even this Sunday, we were having a cookout for her. And she is leaving this evening by 9 something to Africa again. So that's the miracle God did for us. The doctor, they give her up, says she's going to die at any time. So we sent her in Africa. We don't want her to die here because of the expenses. But as soon as she went there before 2 months, things changed. So, well, that was the good part of it. I interact with a lot of neighbors, my Ward 6 people, and that's a good thing for me. So I enjoy my July 4th, but the one we used to do before, we didn't do it this year. To rent a park, make a cookout, kill a cow and everything. We didn't do it this year. But next year, Town of Riverhead Park, we're going to do it. We invite a lot. Hey, Mr. Town Manager, put that in your diary. We have to buy 1 cow to make a cookout. Invite everybody, the governor and all the senators and Congress people, let them come and enjoy. Let them know we, the people of Town of Riverhead Park, we are not easy. So I yield my time.
Thank you, Councilmember Kellon. Appreciate your report. That concludes the Council Committee and Wards report section. So let's move on to public comments on non-agenda items and consent agenda items. Are there any public comments? Ms. Katz, please speak.
Thank you so much, Mayor Thompson. Good evening, council members, mayor, staff, and all those other attending this meeting. I'm going to have to first say that Councilmember Kellon, you have really enriched these meetings, bringing all of your interesting culture and who you are to the fore here. It's wonderful to have you. I would also like, on behalf of those who worked on the application for the Sustainable Maryland recertification for our town, since we've been certified since 2014 continuously, and we want to keep that going. I definitely acknowledge the mayor and the council members and the staff, everyone who thanked those folks who worked on the application. Thank you very much. It was a big lift, but there were about 10 of us that worked on it. Definitely a team effort, as well as the staff, of course. That's key. And actually, I'd like to mention the staff being willing to meet with us when we needed them to was great, because I know it's a very busy time for them. But the other really invaluable thing that the staff also do are the town manager's documentation, his status reports, the town crier, what's on social media, and the resource now that these meetings have become, with the packets and the ability to see the recordings of these meetings on the town website. All of that really came into play for us significantly. So thank you to the staff for making that kind of communication, that kind of transparency, and making it something that we can go back and look at a later time. It made it really essential for what we were doing. I'd also like to mention that on July 6th, there was a sustainability tour that was hosted by Sustainable Maryland in combination with the Sustainability Committee, the Green Team, or basically representing the town, a tour of the Riverdale Park Station sustainability features, which we have done on about 3 previous occasions. The intent is to do this tour maybe once or twice a year. We had 2 DPW town staff members come, which was wonderful to have them there. So they participated in that tour as well. We also had attendees from the tour is really for folks from other towns. So College Park, University Park, Greenbelt, Mount Rainier. There were council members and people from sustainability and people from the staff from these other towns that came on this tour so that we could show them the hard work that we have done with this development. I know it was definitely a team effort with all these sustainability features between the developer and our town government. So we show that off as much as we can. It's a great tour. When we do it again, I invite everyone who's listening and town council staff to come on. If you want to see the biggest green roof in the area, it's like as a football field. We go up the stairs and we see the green roof, permeable pavement, all the stormwater management features, charging stations. We've got Tesla fast charging stations, other kinds of charging stations, the nice downward facing light fixtures they have there. And we find out other little tidbits like hopefully by the end of the year, there'll be a refurbished trolley car that will be installed back by the back playground area. And speaking of bathrooms, there will be bathrooms back there with that installation. The other thing I wanted to mention is that tomorrow is the second Tuesday of the month is the usual date that the Sustainability Committee or Green Team has been meeting. And for the first time in about 3.5, 4 years, we are going to meet in person at Town Center Market. And we're going to start talking about vision and commitment from providing some input to the council and staff on the vision and commitment statement. We're going to start talking about that. Everyone is invited that is interested in participating in our sustainable actions moving forward. So I just wanted to put out a call for that. At 7:30 is when we meet. And Jessica, I'll just mention to you, because I know it's also been advertised that we meet on Zoom, I will log into Zoom on my phone and make sure that no one has logged in. And if they do, I'll let them know where we are and what the situation is. And then the other thing I just want to mention, thank you for this time, is I want to talk about Gosling Pond. Recently, there was a ceremony at Gosling Pond that the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning and the Partnership for Clean Water, the Clean Water Partnership, had done all this work on what we call Gosling Pond, and they were having a ribbon cutting ceremony and had put a brand new pollinator garden, which you may have noticed. You can see it from the road, and that There were all native plants in there except one plant, and I made mention of that one plant. And I would like to say I am tickled and delighted to see that someone replaced those plants with native plants. They took out the lyrope and they put in what I think is called heuchera. And so that is a nice native garden there, and they're doing much better. Although we've had rain lately, they'll do better when we have more drought because they're native plants. And that's a wonderful thing. The only, I'd just like to mention to the mayor and council and staff is the Gosling Pond sign, poof, it's gone. So I know it's not our property, it belongs to the county. I was just curious though, if maybe we could follow up and find out what happened to the sign. Is it not Gosling Pond anymore? Is it going to be something else or nothing? No name, I don't know. But that was something that had been there the 13 years I've lived here, and now it's gone. So I was curious about that. And that was the only downer I had, was that last thing. Everything else is awesome. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Katz. Maybe we can sneak a new sign in up there somehow. Just go in some Saturday morning and plant it and they won't even notice. We'll see. We'll reach out to you.
Mr. Mayor, could we do the same thing with some fish?
You know, I will say that at least from walking by late at night, the frog population is quite healthy up there. You can hear
There's plenty of forage. We just need the fish some nice full-bellied birds to come and empty their bellies in the pond to get some fish in there.
You may need the microorganisms to reestablish themselves first before fish are going to survive very well in there. But
There's already bluegill in there.
oh, well, they're eating everybody.
I won't
else.
bore folks with fish talk anymore. Sorry.
Okay, are there additional public comments? Okay, let's move on then to the consent agenda. Consent agenda has minutes from several meetings on it. May I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda item?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Smith, seconded by Councilmember Lingua. There's no discussion nor debate on this. I'll move immediately to a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Inyang,
Aye.
Councilmember Mejia,
Aye.
Councilmember Kellon,
Aye.
and I abstain. The motion passes 5-0. Let's move on now to legislative action items. Item number 1, hopefully you've read the meeting materials, is a motion to appoint Aaron Wright to the Board of Elections as the under 18 years of age member. May I please have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Inyang, seconded by Councilmember Smith. Aaron has graciously volunteered to serve in this position and seems quite excited about doing so. And so I hope that we can approve this nomination this evening. Is there any discussion? Aaron, do you want to say anything about your interest in this, or you can remain silent as you see fit?
I would like to. First of all, thank you, Mayor Thompson. Thank you, council members, for this opportunity. I'm incredibly excited to be on the election board and to start kind of dipping my toes into the world of politics. That's a career that I'd like to see in the future. This is just a wonderful opportunity for youth to get involved in local politics, and it's a great way to really get teenagers interested in political activism. So I'm incredibly excited to take this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your willingness to step forward and serve in this way. Are there council questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes, I would just like to say thank you to Aaron to step up and for stepping up and taking on this role, serving on the committee. I would say that I'm sure you understand that your role has a bit of an expiration date in terms of, as those of us with white facial hair here No, we keep getting older, so I would definitely encourage you to start thinking about recruiting a backfill. I'm not sure your age, but I would assume it's based on our voting rules, within the next 1 to 3 years, that we'll be looking for somebody else on the committee. Looking forward to working with you and seeing you out and about in the community. And yeah, thanks for stepping up. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Any additional council questions or comments? Any public comments? Okay, everybody looks like they've spoken, so I'm going to move for a vote. I will do a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Inyang,
Aye.
Councilmember Mejia,
Aye.
Councilmember Kellogg,
Aye.
and I abstain. The motion passes 5-0. Aaron, I will sign your oath of office later this evening, and you will be on the board. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Okay. Let's move on to legislative action item number 2, motion to adopt Prince George's County Vision Zero Action Plan. And if we could have a brief presentation from staff on what this is, since it's a little bit new.
Yes, Ms. Peaks.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members and members of the public. The staff are requesting that you adopt the Prince George's County Vision Zero Action Plan as part of our application to the Department of Transportation Safe Streets for All grant. Vision Zero is an international effort that was first adopted in 1997 in Sweden. And it's just summarized by recognizing that no loss of life is acceptable. Since then, many large cities, European nations, states, and cities around the world have adopted Vision Zero, as well as in Maryland, Montgomery County, and Prince George's County. So Vision Zero is the county's roadmap to achieving zero fatalities and serious injuries on the roadways by 2040. It's been described as data-driven, human-inspired, bold, innovative, and action-oriented, and builds upon the county's strategic roadway safety plan. It's also consistent with the town's Walk, Bike, Drive Safety Initiative. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilmember Inyang.
Definitely super excited about this. I actually had a neighbor reach out to me, like, are you aware of what this is? Like, what's the town doing? Like, we should be involved in this. And so it was nice to be able to like send a screenshot of this, like, yep, we'll be talking about it. The one question I do have is, I know it's consistent with the town's Walk, Bike, Drive Safety Initiative. And I guess I'd love to get a copy of that. I tried to look for it on the website and couldn't. Is there any additional direction or input or changes that the town would have to do in order to meet Vision Zero? Or is our Walk, Bike, Drive initiative pretty much already put us at par or exceeding whatever requirements are from Vision Zero?
Yes, thank you for your question. So the town's plan is consistent with Vision Zero. So the county is really just encouraging equity and engineering and to look at things in a very cohesive way. And that's what our initiative does as well, but just for our town. We do have a presentation that was shared with the public in March, and that could be sent to you.
Okay, thank you.
And separately, we're working on our local strategic highway safety plan as well. And so we're going to have a number of planning documents and everything really needs to dovetail and merge together. And as Laverne said, adopting the net zero, the zero action plan, the vision zero. I keep saying net zero. The vision zero action plan is a requirement for a grant application where the town's going to be pursuing significant funds towards engineering of various road improvement type projects.
Awesome.
Okay, with that discussion, would someone like to make a motion to adopt the Prince George's County Vision Zero Action Plan?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Inyang, seconded by Councilmember Smith. I hope I got that right. Is there council discussion of this motion? Okay, are there any public comments on this motion to adopt Prince George's County Vision Zero Action Plan? Mr. Barron, please speak.
Thank you, Mayor Thompson. And I just wanted to thank you all for going through this process. I am really happy to hear that you're going to be applying for an implementation grant. It's a great round of funds that might not be around forever. So I'm glad you're acting on it now and totally support the town taking these steps.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. Appreciate those comments. Any additional public comments? Seeing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Inyang,
Aye.
Councilmember Mejia,
Aye.
Councilmember Callan,
Aye.
and I abstain. The motion passes 5-0. That brings us to legislative action item number 3, motion regarding a request from Community Crisis Services, Inc. for $1,000 for table chair rental for Riverdale Park Community Day 2023. And this would come from the undesignated social concerns line item in the fiscal year 2024 approved operating and capital improvement budget. We could have a staff presentation, just so we know what we're talking about.
Director Barnes, can you cover this?
Certainly. Good evening, Mayor Thompson and members of the council. The town received a request from Community Crisis Services, Inc. for a grant or a donation of $1,000 to cover the table and chair rental for their upcoming Riverdale Park Community Day. This is an event that the town has supported in the past. In fact, it had its own line item at one point in the budget. Because the event hadn't been held for many years, staff rolled that number into the undesignated social concerns line item. So simply, this is a housekeeping item to make that donation should the mayor and council choose to do so from the undesignated social concerns line item. But it is an event that benefits the community. It's held this year at Fletcher's Field on August the 19th, and it provides a lot of services to the community.
Thank you, Director Barnes. I'll just add that I've spoken to the organizers many years ago when it was still a line item at that time. And it's a lot of it is sort of connecting people with crisis services for people who are in crisis, and for services to keep people out of going into crisis. And so it's a fantastic way to connect people with organizations that can help them out in one way or another. Are there any council questions or comments on this, or is someone ready to make a motion to approve the request?
Yes, I have a question.
Councilmember Callan, go ahead.
Concerning this rental of this chair and tables. This is one whole government, right? Town of Riverdale Park. Why can't we buy our own chairs and tables, find a store, put them there, at any time we need them, we use them? Unless when time comes, go start renting chair and table.
So I will dive into answering that, and the big answer is storage space. So we do have many tables and chairs. When we get back into the town hall, then you'll see them arranged in various times. I would say we have half a dozen, maybe 10 tables, and we have a few dozen chairs. And I think that this event needs a lot more than that. And so we don't have a place that we can store the tables and chairs, and we just don't have the space for it. And so that would be the reason that we are providing them some money in order to rent them.
Okay, let me say this. We have a lot of abandoned warehouses in this PG County. Why can't we go and look out and see one, repair it, make it a store for us? Whatever we want to keep there, go and keep it there. When we need them, go and collect them. Then all the time we're renting, taking money out rent, taking money out rent. Let's do it for once and for all. That is good for us. That we can save some money.
Well, it's an interesting idea. I'm willing to bet that buying the number of tables and chairs that we're going to be renting for $1,000 would be probably 10 times that. And if we have warehouse space that we are leasing somewhere, then we have to pay the rent on that. We can't just find a free place for them. And so even though there are a lot of empty or abandoned places, there's just not space that's free. And the organizers of the event, certainly for this year, the organizers would like to have the money in order to hold the event, to have places for people to sit and places for vendors to show. So I hope we can, for this year at least, do it this way. And we can discuss additions to the capital budget if that's amount, or we can have staff look into the possibility of buying our own chairs and tables for events like this. We also have to look into exactly how many times per year we get a request like this to see whether it's worth it.
Okay, maybe if we have an empty land, it belongs to the government, and this is a government business. We build a storage there where we can put all these things. Some people can come and rent it to us. We make money. When we ready our own business, we rent it out, we take it, we put it there. Then when we finish, put it back. People look advertise, people that are making business at the park and everywhere, we have chair and table to rent. They will come and rent it to make some income out of it. So this is another idea. Then all the time when we have business, we rent chairs, go rent tables, spending money, But anyway, I just bring it up for you to think about it, for the members to think about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kellon.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think Councilmember Fallon there's some good ideas in there. I think that's something that we should look towards to point to our unfinished business item number 1 on the agenda. Once that's settled, if it is, if it goes the way we would like, maybe we could have that discussion then once we figure out what's going on with the additional space that we hope to acquire.
Good point, Councilmember Smith. Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion in one way or another on this item?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would like to move that we provide $100 or $1,000 out of the undesignated social concerns line item in the fiscal year 2024 budget, appropriated to Community Crisis Service Inc. for Riverdale Park Community Day 2023.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Smith, seconded by Councilmember Lingua to designate $1,000 for table chair rental for Riverdale Park Community Day hosted by Community Crisis Services from the undesignated social concerns line item. Is there additional discussion of this item? Are there public comments on this item? Okay, Councilmember Kellon, just regarding your previous comments, if you can please send me a text message or an email to remind me to add it to my list of things to think about, then I would be happy to do that for the months ahead.
Okay, I will remind you.
Okay, thank you. I will now do a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Inyang,
Aye.
Councilmember Mejia, Councilmember Mejia, I didn't hear what your vote was. You were, did anyone else hear? I did not hear. Can you repeat your vote, please, Councilmember Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kellogg.
Aye.
And I abstain. The motion passes 5-0. Okay, we are now to the unfinished business section of the. Wait, there's something under new business that we discussed earlier. Was there something supposed to be brought up under new business? Oh, the schedule for the meeting at the end of the month. Do people know their schedules well enough that they can say whether the 3 days, one or another of the 3 days works best? Either the 31st, the 2nd, 31st of July, the 2nd or 3rd of August? Or do people-
31st is fine by me.
Okay, so 31st is probably better for me than the other two. So unless anyone objects, then I'll go ahead and schedule it for the 31st. Does anyone have any conflicts that they know of?
No conflicts for me.
Okay, I'm going to tentatively schedule it for that. If anyone has any conflicts, please let me know in the next few days, or finds that they have some conflicts, and we can reschedule it. Okay, let's move on to unfinished business. Update on acquisition of former U.S. Army Reserve property. Is this a staff presentation? Should I talk about
Well,
my activities at MML?
I'll follow you then, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'll just say that the list of municipalities that I needed to contact, I ticked all of them off. The last one was about half an hour before I had to leave the conference and get back to work. But I did talk to mayors and or council members from all of the municipalities that were on the official list. I spoke again with representatives from the governor's office, representatives from the Congressman Ivey's office, and I spoke to the Maryland comptroller at an event also, and told her that at some point we would probably be asking for money and for helping to fix it up, and she said she would work to make that happen efficient. So I think that's it. Go ahead. So go ahead, Mr. Town Manager.
So just a few things to add on to there. In coordination with the mayor, I've contacted Senator Cardin's office, Senator Van Hollen's office, and Congressmember Hoyer's office. Hoyer's office staff are they're doing some investigative work. I'll say it that way. They're reaching out to the Army Reserve to get their take on this. So I think those are positive moves. I'm hoping to have a meeting next week with some staff with the county. Director Lewis was at the property the other day with a different engineering firm. We had produced that very quick aerial rendering. It was more like a very rough sketch. The firm that we're using is another one of our on-call engineering firms, Pannoni, and they were there taking photographs, and they're going to put together 3D renderings. So both the council, the community, as well as the elected officials whose support we will need to make this happen on the federal level, we'll be able to show them some professional renderings. Ms. Barnes and I will be drafting letters of support for these other municipalities that the mayor had mentioned, as well as draft resolutions if they choose to to adopt a resolution. And so we hope to have those done here in the next few days. The jurisdictions will obviously take those and make them their own, but we want to give them some draft language. So that's underway. And so I think things are progressing. We will coordinate a tour for the council. And I will need to know, perhaps folks can report back to the mayor of when they'd be available. And then I'll coordinate with my contact with the Army Reserve and arrange for that tour. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Councilmember Smith, your hand is up, so go ahead and speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Listician, I heard you mention that you'd be talking with the staff at the county. Has there been any outreach to the county executive, or is the staff outreach the first step of that?
No, I believe the mayor has spoken with the county executive.
Okay.
And I'll be speaking with the CAO, Ms. Rogers.
Very nice. Yeah, I would just put on the radar for, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
The town manager is correct. I had about a 5-minute discussion with the county executive at an event that I attended. So, and she was supportive of the plan and suggested that our town manager reach out to her staff. So that's what's happening.
Yeah, outstanding. I think our county executive might have some more influence over an NDAA in the coming near to medium term future. So would be good to continue to cultivate that. So glad we're thinking on the same wavelength.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Councilman Renyang.
I think the plan, the update, I appreciate the update, and saw you in real time working the phone, so to speak. I'm talking to folks. I appreciate the equity that you put in there. I mentioned this previously, but I think, finding opportunities for council to sort of be involved and engage as we sort of like cultivate public opinion support around this. I would definitely look forward to sort of helping in any way possible. I'm sure members of the council will as well. I know there have been folks who've reached out asking for a variety of things of like, oh, have we considered this? Have we considered that? Have we considered housing as an issue on this property? And so even if there is, I think, town hall or some type of event that could, one, again, further clarify that this is the beginning of a longer process, and then two, clarify any stipulations on what this property may have if we do in fact getting it, and three, just to hear folks' concerns that they may have, visions for the space. I think it's all in our best interest to do that. So happy to be a resource if any way possible to sort of use this as an opportunity to further connect with residents of the town.
Thank you for that reminder, Councilmember Renyang. The town manager and I have been discussing how to involve council. So we will be continuing those discussions, and I may well reach out to you and see if you have some detailed thoughts on what the council might do. Any additional council questions or comments? Any public questions or comments on this update? Okay, let's move on to the next item of unfinished business. Update on license agreement with Calvert Tract LLC for use of town infrastructure in Riverdale Park Station.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, members of the community and staff. We're not requesting any action on this item this evening. The pole licensing agreement that the council approved on June 12th has not been executed. This item is back on the agenda this evening because Calvert Tract LLC has expressed a concern that the banner provision in the existing agreement is too broad and could allow advertising of businesses and commercial activities that are located outside of Riverdale Park Station. They suggested instead that the banners be excluded altogether from the agreement. The staff did not support this recommendation and instead suggested they enumerate any exclusions they'd like to see. The only exclusion proposed was to preclude the town from advertising any business or commercial activity outside of Riverdale Park Station in Riverdale Park, but allow banners advertising businesses and activities located within the community to be permitted. That suggestion is also problematic as the town will not allow any individual business or commercial activity on banners anywhere in town, including within the Riverdale Park Station community. Staff has suggested that we continue to negotiate a revision to the agreement that's acceptable to both parties. Staff will meet with the developer's representative this week to continue to work on a revision and will anticipate bringing this agreement back before the council at the special session. And with that, I'll take questions. Thank you.
If I could add one thing, because I may have missed it, Director Lewis, but not only hasn't the agreement, this licensing agreement, been executed, but K-Fritz has withheld their signatures on the transfer of the infrastructure pending resolution of this item.
That is correct.
And so the council needs to know that the effort and the work that went in to finalize the transfer is being held up by K-Fritz pending resolution of this item. But I do believe that we'll get there over the course of the next 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. I'll let the council go first and then I might have a few comments myself. Council members, any thoughts, questions, comments? Councilmember Inyang?
I'm trying not to be triggered, yeah, Mr. Mayor. This is I had a neighbor say that their daughter is 6, and I think she was 1 when we were told that the transfer was going to happen. And so hearing this upset a lot of people in the community, because it just seems like when we thought we were over the hump that something happens, right? So it's disappointing that this is being held up at the 11th hour for something that I assumed was already approved, since I know a lot of these documents and the turnover was shared months in advance, or definitely months ago. And so for it to come down to the 11th hour is extremely disappointing. I guess my only question is, how confident do we feel that this will be resolved by the next special election? Because I know personally, I'm running out of patience to keep having special elective, sessions to sort of solve, this issue in particular. It's not just the extra months, it's obviously this has been years in the making, and the downstream effects of road not turning over, safety implementation not happening, like it's a lot. And so as news gets around that this is holding it up again is definitely extremely frustrating.
So in direct response to your question, sir, I believe we will get this worked out. I think it's important that the town maintains a right to put a banner on its own infrastructure. The town's going to own this, and to be told by a developer in a public area, not in a private development, that the municipality has no right to hang a banner on its own pole, that's unheard of. And frankly, sir, I'm disappointed in the position of K-Fritz on this. But I do believe that in the next 2 weeks, Director Lewis, myself, and representatives from the K-Fritz team will get this resolved one way or the other in terms of the agreement, the pole attachment agreement. I think we have some options. I don't want to get into what those options are in this setting. If you want to have a closed session or one-on-one conversations, we can do that. But I think we have some levers that we can pull in terms of finding a way forward here. And I think we can get that done in the next 2 weeks. And I will just add, sir, respectfully, we are extremely disappointed, and not only do we feel the frustration of the council, Director Lewis, who's been the point person in pushing this forward, the disappointment among the staff team is fairly great as well. And we're disappointed in the position of CAFRS.
The last thing I would just add is, and I appreciate you saying that, and your confidence that we'll get something in the next 2 weeks. Whatever happens, I think the poll is its own issue. The road transfer is its own issue. Tying the both of them up together has like serious safety implications, and I think is like unacceptable completely. So I understand everyone has leverage that they're trying to exercise, but if for whatever reason that this extends past, coming close to the 2-week mark, we don't feel like we're getting resolution, like I think I would suggest, my opinion would be that we can't continue the conversation until we get at least a street turnover, because we live in a world where we hope that nothing major happens, but if something was to happen, for it to find out that like, oh, well, something could have been done, but we were waiting because it's a bad look for everybody, all parties involved. So that's just my piece. I really hope that it doesn't get to that. I feel confident that we'll find a resolution here. It's surprising, but I understand that's how it happens sometimes.
Thank you, Councilmember Yang. Councilmember Smith, your hand is up.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would echo the sentiment of the council member from Ward 4. I know when RPS was a part of Ward 1, this was an issue I inherited. So I know it goes through at least 3 different representatives for this neighborhood. And I can't speak to before that, but I wouldn't be surprised that if it was something that former council member Dixon inherited as well. So yeah, it's unacceptable, and please keep us informed, and though I don't represent that community anymore, it's still, I was still there this morning. It's a small town, we all have a stake, so if I can be at all helpful, please let me know.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Councilmember Lingua, I saw your hand was up. Do you have something to say?
No, never mind.
Okay. Any other council comment on this, or questions on this item? Not seeing anything change microphones, so any public comments? Okay, no public comments. I will weigh in. I have to agree with Councilmember Yang that the tying this to the street transfer is just completely unacceptable, and I hope that staff will convey to the CAFRS team the council's extreme displeasure at that. I understand that they've got they're playing this as a game. This isn't a game. This is public safety. This is very important. We have projects that are waiting for that transfer to get going. We have schedules that are going to be impacted by the change of weather later on that we need to get going, and them being concerned about something that we would never do anyway, and wanting us. Did I understand correctly that they want us to be required to accept advertising from businesses on the site? That seems ridiculous also. These are our polls. We should be able to say whether or not that happens. Future councils should be able to say what happens with those polls.
Yeah, so to be clear, they want to be able to advertise businesses within their development on our property without our input, approval, anything. And they don't want us to have the same ability. Not that we would advertise a business. The language we offered was for placemaking signage, welcome to Riverdale Park. Happy holidays from Riverdale Park. And in response to what you just said, Mr. Mayor, I plan on sending the representatives from CAFRITS a link to this segment of the meeting. So they can hear clearly from the mayor and council members what the council's position is.
Okay, good. Because I would like to see this resolved honestly within a week. I mean, they can sign the transfer document very easily and very quickly. It's just waiting for them. They have no beefs with it, so they should. And we can work through the whole agreement later on. I'm quite displeased by this. Any additional council comments or public comments on this item? Okay. Next on the agenda is the Walk, Bike, Drive Safety Initiative, Washington Area Bicyclists Association Bike Safety Training.
And we're going to have Director Barnes cover for Ryan this evening. He's out this week. Ms. Barnes?
Good evening again, Mayor Thompson and members of the council. This item was discussed at the June 20th special legislative meeting, and this is specifically training related to bike safety that is being offered through WABA, the Washington Area Bicyclists Association. On July 6th, staff met with Sydney Sotelo, the Education and Outreach Coordinator, and discussed the opportunities for the town to participate in a grant program, the Blumenfield Memorial Fund for bicycle training, or I'm sorry, bicycle safety, and staff are working to finalize the details for some of the classes. It was a really great meeting. We learned quite a bit. It was very exciting to see all of the options available. I listed at the bottom of the memo some of the different types of classes, and as we were discussing, it was just really awesome to kind of look at the different projects that we have happening in town and how we can partner with some of these training options. So for right now, staff are looking to move forward with 2 classes, the Learn to Ride for adults and the Learn to Ride for children. And we'll be working to finalize those training opportunities with Sydney this fall. However, we're not going to end the conversation there. We want to look at how we can continue to move forward with this kind of training. Specifically, I'll mention 2 of the classes that I thought were really neat: the trail riding basics and the confident city cycling. Those are both really important to this community, and we'd like to find a way to partner with WABA moving forward to bring those classes to our town residents. So there are a couple of small tweaks that we'll need to make to the program just to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to participate. But Director Shelton and I really enjoyed the opportunity to meet with Sydney, and we're really excited about the possibilities of bringing other organizations into these training opportunities as well. So there's a lot of great possibilities, and staff are working to finalize the details for the first 2 classes, and then looking forward to other classes that can be offered to residents.
And Ms. Barnes, can you just mention about the Spanish speaking as well as the fees?
Absolutely. So the as part of the grant, the class cannot be taught completely in Spanish, but we've been utilizing the University of Maryland translation services. So we would like to partner in that way to bring translators actually to the event. The other portion of it is the $10 fee. The town would like to cover the $10 fee so that everybody can participate. There would be no hindrance to participation. Although Sydney was convincing me otherwise, I do understand the importance of people actually signing up and following through. But I think we'll give it a try the first time around, where the town will cover those fees, and then we'll see how that works. But there's a lot of possibilities here. There's a lot of flexibility, and WABA has some really amazing training opportunities, and this obviously supports the town's Walk, Bike, Drive safety initiative. So it really checks all of the boxes. We also talked a bit about sustainability and all of that good stuff. So I hope I'm expressing what a great meeting it was and how excited we are to move forward and work with WABA in the future.
Thank you, Director Barnes. It was a fantastic and enthusiastic endorsement of this. It's good to hear that. Are there council questions or comments? See that that Ms. Katz is giving a thumbs up that she's excited about this. So, council questions or comments? Councilmember Inyang, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank staff for taking the time out and talking to Sydney. I spoke to her a few weeks ago and was in, just as a avid cyclist, she was recommended to me from a couple other people actually. And so just being able to see the pieces sort of land together, I think this is an awesome opportunity to provide the town a resource. We're actively working on building our infrastructure for people to actually, bike and use the trails more often. So I think investing in actual training so that people know how to use it safely only makes sense. So I'm excited about the opportunities moving forward, and really, really happy that the meeting was as enthusiastic and successful as Director Barnes has described.
Thank you, Councilmember Inyang. Additional council comment? Are there any public comments? Okay, thank you, Director Barnes, for that presentation, and we look forward to seeing more information on this in the future. Okay, we have I obviously got confused. I thought we're under new business up earlier, but we're not. So here we are under new business. So I had hoped to. I've had quite a few thoughts and quite a few discussions about the committees and what exists now, what might exist in the future, and I had hoped to write up those thoughts and send them out to the council in advance and get input from council members on what committees you would like to be on with those sort of possible reimaginings of the committees. And that didn't happen. The write-up was much harder than I had thought. I got about halfway through. And so I do not have nominations this evening for council committees, members or chairs, with the exception of one important detail, which is that at the moment, we do not have a vice chairman of the council. That's the term that's in the town charter. And the vice chairman is who acts when the mayor is unable to. And so having that gap is an important issue. And that vice chairman of the council, or vice chair of the council, I'll just say from now on, has traditionally also been the chair of the finance committee. And so as a single nomination tonight, and I do intend to follow up on the membership of the other committees and membership of the other committees, I would like to nominate Councilmember Lingua, David Lingua, to be vice chair of the council and chair of the finance committee. And if I could please have a motion to affirm my nomination, I would appreciate that.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Smith, seconded by Councilmember Kellogg. Is there discussion of the motion to affirm the nomination of vice chair of the council for David Lingua and chair of the finance committee?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Smith, go ahead.
I'm just curious as what the thinking is of having it, the finance committee chair rather than the senior most tenured person on the council, which in this case, of course, is the same person. But presumably at some point it won't be. Is there thought behind that, or just what we've always done, which is
It's
often a ridiculed reason for doing things, but I think it's might be undervalued in this case. If it's working, why not change it? Or why change it? But I'm just curious.
So I think that the reason that I think traditionally the vice chair goes to the senior most person who is on the council, not always, but usually. And I think that the idea is that it takes a while to wrap your head around municipal finance and how things work, and the at times painfully slow process of making something happen because you have to plan so far in advance in order to not disrupt the budget process. And so I think that's the reason that traditionally the vice chair of the council has been the chair of the finance committee, is just that the experiences and the sort of backlog of knowledge have gone hand in hand. And so I don't think the finance committee is going to be doing anything over the next few months, but just in case, then I thought I would go ahead and do that. But it's certainly, we can certainly have a discussion. There's no reason that the appointments have to stick the entire way through. So if Councilmember Lingua wants to hand off that duty to someone else, which he might well want to, and if someone else wants to take that on, we can certainly discuss that over the next few months, because I would like to bring full set of nominations to be voted on at the meeting in September.
Understood. Sounds good. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilmember Ing, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I echo the same. I think it makes sense. Your explanation makes sense in terms of the seniority, finance being a tricky thing. I am curious what sort of like the new revamped committees could be as we think about what makes the most sense in today's day and age than from the council of yesteryear in terms of what the committees are and the functions they have. I am always nervous about the perception of, finance is the most important thing when we talk about safety, when we talk about security, when we talk about public works or sustainability. There are a lot of priorities that we have, and just sort of like the default of just being like, at the end of the day, the budget's the most important thing, even though I know that's not what you're saying, but it definitely is something that I'm mindful of. And then two, I guess the second thing is just, I'm assuming Councilmember Lingua wants this.
I've spoken with him.
He's not just being surprised right now, like, oh wow,
Right.
really, we're doing this?
He's
We're doing it
aware.
live?
He's
Okay.
aware.
That's good to know. Thank you.
I try to not spring it on people too much, but there's always a little element of surprise when I have the full list, just because it's complicated. And by the way, if council members have ideas for different committees than have existed in the past, then please reach out. There's no reason that we have to. We're required by ordinance to have the finance, public works, public safety. I think those are the mandatory ones, maybe community affairs, but there are the mandatory committees that are in the code, but we can certainly discuss the others and what's the best way to address current issues. We could say that sustainability should have a membership, have a committee associated with it. So, we have a few months. Please reach out and we can discuss this. Hopefully these next few months will be a little bit calmer than the last month has been, because the last month has not been conducive to thinking deeply.
And then just for clarification, I know with the town code cleanup, there's a possibility, I believe this is one of the sections we flagged for cleanup as well, the committees, right? So there is a possibility of combining or adding or changing committees that are required, right? Okay.
Definitely.
That's good.
Okay, additional council questions or comments? Any public comments?
Mr. Mayor, this is me, and you are the head of this council. If you are not there, who's going to represent you? Who can work with your position effectively? And seniority more is important in any aspect of things. We are just new council members. We don't know how far you people have gone. So that's why sometimes I shut my mouth and wait and see what is going on. So if you believe anyone that can take your position when you are absent can do your job according to the way you want it, I accept. That's all.
I appreciate your confidence, and I appreciate Councilmember Lingua's willingness to take this on. And I hope that I will be able to be here almost all the time. Every now and then I do have a work conflict, and I could have family conflicts. I could have health issues, and so it's good to have someone as a backup and someone who I trust and know will do a good job. So appreciate your words of support.
Yeah, the ball is in your court. If you can appoint Jessica, it's okay. Anywhere you like to appoint.
Well, I have to appoint.
Jessica just got so scared. I saw the look on her face.
Have to appoint from among the council. I can't appoint staff to this position.
Thank you, Ajil.
Okay. Any additional council or public comments on this this item? Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Present.
Councilmember Inyang,
Aye.
Councilmember Mejia,
Aye.
Councilmember Kellogg,
Aye.
and I abstain. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you all. Are there any additional items of new business?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilmember Lingua, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not an item of new business. Just a follow-up on what we just went through. I'd like to say thank you to the council for the appointment. I would like to thank you for the nomination. It's an honor to hold such a honorific, and as I have in the past, and I am delighted to be able to serve in this capacity in the months ahead.
Thank you again, Councilmember Lingua, for agreeing to shoulder this burden, and appreciate that. Are there any other items of new business or any items of new business? It's awfully quiet, so.
Samuel,
Yes,
I'm on my leg. These Christian family members, they send an invitation to me that they have a family meeting and prayer at Riverdale Park here on the 19th of August. But I replied to the council that on that 19th day, I will be in Philadelphia. If you could recall, when my two nephews were shot dead in Philadelphia, when I told the council here. So I supposed to be there on that day. But I put an injunction there. If the day was postponed in Philadelphia, I will visit there just by my side here. I will visit there, but if not, I can't be able to make it. Yeah.
understood. And I, as I said, in my discussions, there are some times that we, all of us, cannot attend. I have missed at least a work session, I believe a legislative session since I've been mayor. I missed some of each when I was a council member, so I'm very sorry that you have to attend this event in Philadelphia, but I understand, and I think all council members understand.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Okay, anyone have other items, or does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Councilmember Lingua, seconded by Councilmember Smith. This is neither debated nor discussed. I will move immediately to roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Inyang,
Aye.
Councilmember Mejia,
Yeah.
Councilmember Mejia,
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Kellon.
Aye.
And I abstain. We are adjourned with a 5-0 vote at 9:22 p.m. Thank you all very much and see you in 3 weeks.
Take
Take it
care.
easy.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, folks. Have a good night.